Can we hold on? This is the final corner, up to the line. Does Leclerc out-traction us to the line for the World Championship? We don't need to win the race, but it'd be nice, it'd be cherry on top of the cake. We're able to outdrag Leclerc for the championship.
I told you, if you carried on as you were, and you didn't start putting in the kind of performances the team expected, you were going to lose your drive. Well, it's happened. As of today, you are no longer an employee of this organisation. Lucky for you, one of us is competent. I found you an option elsewhere, and I suggest you take it if you want any hope of salvaging this so-called career of yours.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another video of the F1 2021 Driver Career Mode. Today we're here for the pre-season episode of Season 4. If you missed the previous episode uploaded yesterday, the Championship finale, I recommend you go and check this out. Otherwise the situation on screen won't make sense. At the end of that video, spoiler alert, we got fired from Mercedes. Emma has been fired herself. I just don't have a mechanic to do that, show you that. Such a shame you can't really do that in the game. That would be actually a quite nice feature. So we're out for Mercedes. Where do we go from here? Now, obviously, we still want to remain in a competitive team. Ferrari aren't really interested. They've just got to the competitive side themselves with Sainz and Leclerc, so that's nowhere near. Red Bull still like the Stroll and the Verstappen lineup as well, so that's a no. I'll be a threat to Verstappen as well. So that pretty much leaves McLaren and Alpine. Now Alpine is sort of lagging behind a little bit as well in terms of performance. It's a bit of an unknown in terms of what race pace they will actually have overall. So for Season 4, I decided to approach McLaren. Yes, McLaren, the team that had a good start to the season, but actually finished 4th in the championship. They accepted my approach as the reigning world champion, and we are, for Season 4, a McLaren driver. The perk fund, I decided not to do anything. I don't want to do anything with the driver acclaim because we got reduced anyway, just to point that out. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to McLaren. Obviously we've got a regulation change come up. We've actually done quite well on the aero side as well, so they've done a lot better than what I've managed with Mercedes. I left them on default R&D. I think it was default R&D point accrual. I might drop them down to decreased for the AI, simply because if they've managed to do that much, then they're getting a lot of points. Look at the how we did. 4 wins, no poles. We did get the most amount of points alongside there, Lando Norris. Now the calendar for Season 4. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Some of you aren't gonna like this, but you know it's got to be done. So obviously, I think the first change is a bit odd. The first change is obvious. Netherlands, goodbye Zandvoort. It's not been pleasant on F1 2021. I'm not gonna lie. It's been painful. Replacing Zandvoort is Spain, so that's going to be an interesting one. I haven't raced around Spanish Grand Prix since about Season 3 of last year's career mode. Now USA also departs, as does Canada. Now these two depart because for the first time we now have Saudi Arabia. I know this is a little bit late. I'm late to the party, so we'll have Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi for Season 4, those 2 rounds. So that's the calendar sorted. A little bit of change, 3 changes there. In terms of the helmet, as we are able to choose the number 1, I should point out I'm sticking with the same helmet from Season 3 because, partly because there's none other than the Podium Pass that I like. I like the fact they've introduced this though, because of course we're a reigning world champion, we get to choose the number 1, so the number 1 will be on the car for Season 4. I don't have to mod it in this time as well, or change it in the files. But looking at the R&D, it's just as well as we left Mercedes, as they're now the 4th slowest car on the grid. Oh my goodness. It's just as well they fired us. Have we had a lucky escape by any chance from Mercedes by being fired? I mean, Ferrari have also suffered, and Red Bull being the fastest car on the grid from ourselves at McLaren and Alpine. So yes, we've got a few little upgrades that we need to put on as well. So in terms of stuff, but other than that, they're mostly minor stuff. We're good on aero compared to Red Bull, but again, a lot of stuff is going to take time to come. We don't even have enough R&D points for this season. As well, Sashi's side, I feel like we're probably lacking a little bit on the weight reduction, weight redistribution as well. Tyre I'm not too fussed about, 25% raise as well. We're maxed out on the engine as well, But now it's time to reveal this year's car for McLaren, the car that I'll be driving for Season 4. So here we go, Season 4, and there are some big changes. Red Bull, we'll start with Red Bull, the fastest team on the grid, the team that gave both drivers were in the championship fight until the final round, but failed to do so. Now, over the winter, Honda, of course, have withdrawn from Formula 1 between Season 3 and Season 4. They've been replaced by Porsche. Now, I should explain how this is working at the moment. Obviously, just like in real life, Honda have given Red Bull all their existing engine and will be powering themselves. However, Porsche have, of course, are also helping to develop that engine in partnership with Red Bull. The engine itself will still be known as Red Bull for Honda's legal reasons. Even though all the cars will have Porsche on. Obviously, this is expected in real. This is a partnership that could well happen in real life, as well. Porsche a little bit wary of the presence of Lawrence Stroll. I'm not entirely sure what direction Stroll wants to take it. So you'll notice a few of Lance Stroll's sponsors have disappeared and been replaced with more Porsche sponsors. Max Verstappen's sponsors, though, are still very much present on the car. Not all of Stroll's sponsors have gone, but anyway, they retain their lineup of Verstappen and Stroll, considering the fact they got no reason to do anything other than that worked them close to be able to winning the constructors until unfortunately the safety car ruined their race really in Brazil. Other than that, they would have won the championship for that. McLaren, the team that I'll be driving alongside Lando Norris. Daniel Ricciardo, after having what was he started off so well in the McLaren last year, he now takes a sabbatical from Formula 1 where he'll be doing some IndyCar stuff and some obviously simulator work for McLaren, so he is still a contracted McLaren driver for this season. But McLaren, of course, have been criticised recently for not being having enough British sponsors, so they've got British Airways as a big sponsor. In terms of the paint, I haven't done anything because I actually quite like the silver with the orange as well. They still got the Merc as well. It's sort of a Merc style, sort of modern day Papillon McLaren orange with the silver of the Merc. It's not quite. It's a little bit of an older style one. I've I've added silver to the back and then redone the rainbow as well, so it matches better the colours as well. So yes, we've still got the Mercedes engine, so we will still be Mercedes powered for this 4th season. So for Lando, I mean, he did have a late charge, won 2 Grand Prix in season 4. So the point of this, the point for us is to get this car upgraded to the maximum as quickly as possible to take on Red Bull for their championship. Ferrari, big changes here as well in terms of the livery. Because I've gone, of course, of a couple of huge sponsors, and of course, since between season 3 and season 4 in real life, Santander are now back sponsoring Ferrari. Now, I originally wanted to go with a white rear wing. However, because I can't put anything on the rear wing itself where the DRS flap is, I can only put it on the side of the rear wing. I decided to switch it to a retro black because I think it looks better. If I could have put a sponsor like the Santander logo on the DRS part of the rear wing itself, then I probably would have gone with white, because it's probably what Ferrari will probably go for. We all hope that Ferrari will see sense in real life and go with back to the classic red and white Ferrari with the Santander logo, obviously joining the car. Obviously UPS has gone, like in real life, so the Estrella Galicia logo has had a bigger prominence. I apologise if I butcher that name. Always butcher Carlos Sainz's sponsor. No change there, as I said earlier. As I say, but they have got a little bit of ground to make up, because of course they spent quite a lot of R&D points upgrading at the end of last season, and that they've now suffered as a result of it, and they've gone from being the fastest car on the grid to now being the 3rd fastest car. But they will be a threat. We saw how dominant they were at the end of last season. As soon as they get that car back upgraded, they will be quick. Alpine. Yes, Alpine, a team that hasn't really sort of made a late charge towards the front at the end of season 3. They've retained their lineup of Fernando Alonso, who I think might be about 5,000 years old at this point, alongside Esteban Ocon as well. And you'll notice a brand new sponsor for Alpine in the terms of BWT, just as rumoured in real life as well. So that's why the pink on the bit of rear of the car. It's not a full sponsorship. It's more like at this moment in time in this career mode, it's an Aston Martin type sponsorship last year, where they're not a title sponsor, but they still have enough influence to change the to pay for really the colour of the car to be pink. So we've got a pink, white and blue Alpine here. It's, as I said, it's not a full takeover as a title sponsor yet. That probably might come later on, as we probably expect in real life, with the appointment obviously of Otmar Schaeffner as their new team principal as well. So yes, mirroring in a little bit what they've got in Neil Lane. Unfortunately, Oscar Piastri won't be able to join us in this career mode anyway, because it's from the 2020 driver pool from F2. Williams. Now, I don't. Williams is a little bit of a tricky one, because they had such a good start to the season and then they just fell off. They were like, oh yes, this is Williams, they're going to take it, they're going to be the next team to challenge the top 4, but no, they dropped off. They did manage to be consistent points. Now the livery, the paint scheme for this, I've adapted from Project Phoenix, and I've swapped the blue back to what it is as it was on the original car as well. I've updated some sponsors as well. You'll notice the Kingsman sponsor enters the car, as was a real life sponsor as well, and the end of last season obviously. So I've put that on the car as well. But yeah, I mean, they've retained George Russell and Giovinazzi, which I don't think's a bad lineup. It's a lineup that probably lacks paid sponsors, to be honest. So whoever, if they were to ever have a lineup like that, Williams would need backing from elsewhere, probably from the other sponsors coming in and sponsoring the team, as opposed to pay drivers, basically, as well, because none of those two drivers really have any sponsors of their own to call off. So yes, I think actually it looks quite good. A little bit of darker blue than the original as well. Now, Aston Martin, the next team, still haven't upgraded since the first half of season 2, because unlike in real life, where you might know that Daddy Stroll is, of course, building his huge new factory at Aston Martin's headquarters, in this career mode, Daddy Stroll sold Aston Martin, and well, the money isn't flowing for the team really. As well, they've retained their existing very experienced lineup of Sergio Perez and Sebastian Vettel. Now, again, that's probably raised a few eyebrows for those of you who've forgotten about that partnership, because to be honest, we didn't see any of them throughout season 3. Again, the livery had gone back to a British Racing green. It's the livery from Project Phoenix again as well, slightly adapted for this career mode as well. So again, not a lot's changed for them, but then not a lot's changed anyway for them since season 2. For them, apart from me leaving and Perez coming in, that's pretty much all that's changed. Mercedes, big changes here. They've gone back to silver grey, I should say. Yeah, it's not. I can't. The silver that's in the game, the grey, isn't quite. Is slightly too light for my liking, and I've tried to make it a little bit dark. It hasn't quite worked out, I will admit that as well. They've got a new sponsor in the form of TeamViewer, pretty much the only sponsor of the original one that's now the original ones that are now the big 3 that were left of Petronas and Ineos. Ineos have departed between season 3 and season 4, selling their stake in Mercedes back to Daimler, who take a bigger interest as well from Toto Wolff as well. Now, this is a time where Mercedes are looking to rebuild. Obviously, yes, they've come off the back of winning 3 straight Drivers' Championship. That's not going to happen in season 4. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of this car. Lewis Hamilton, will it be his last season in Formula 1 in this career mode? We'll have to wait and see. But replacing me is an F2 rookie. Christian Lundgaard takes my place at Mercedes. Now, that's just the driver transfers. I know it's a little bit frustrating, but there we go. I mean, it is a chance if they want to build the team around Lundgaard for the future, if Russell's chosen to stick with Williams full time. AlphaTauri are next. This is a livery that you guys seem to like through season 3, so I haven't changed. The only things I've changed is updated the sponsors. Although I did this before AlphaTauri pretty much announced that ICM and Randstad are the only sponsors left for them. Obviously, Porsche logos replace the Honda logos as well. I want to say that both of their drivers at times outdrove this car, because it's the third worst car on the grid. But yet Gasly especially, I mean, not so much Tsunoda. I mean, although Tsunoda did get a good podium thanks to some good tactics at Monza, but you know, they've both been able to outperform well in the car, as well. Hopefully they can apply a few more upgrades and start to challenge the likes of maybe Alpine, but probably Williams will be their big target really. But obviously all of that's to come in terms of who's going to be upgrading their car fastest and getting the lost performance, if any, back as well. Can they even challenge Mercedes? Because of course we need to really see where everyone's going to fit in with the new regulations. Next up, Alfa Romeo, and big change in their livery, because it's, instead of being red, green and white, it's now red, green and black. I think this livery actually looks quite nice. I think it will look a lot better out on track than it is in the showroom. The showroom lighting can make the cars look a little bit iffy sometimes as well. You'll notice the arrival of Weichai. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I do apologise if I'm not. Basically, I've added just some. Obviously, they were a sponsor for Ferrari in real life, but obviously in real life they've actually left sponsoring Ferrari. Now, obviously, potentially this is because they're off to sponsor Alfa Romeo, because of course Guan Yu Zhou has arrived in Formula 1 in real life. In the game, obviously added them because obviously Zhou somehow miraculously, just like real life, has graduated into this team as well. He's been retained alongside Latifi, but that team didn't really do much throughout season 3. I don't think he did anything, just like they did in season 2. Not really score much points. They brought one upgrade in season 3, which I think they've managed to retain somehow as well. So not really going to be seeing too much of them, and also not going to be seeing too much of Haas. Now Haas, I've changed Haas, got rid of Uralkali and replaced them with a title sponsor with Coca-Cola, and have also added Delta, two American sponsors as well. Again, not a lot to discuss about Haas because they've retained their same lineup of Mazepin and Schumacher as well. But I was in two minds to either make red or black the dominant colour. I decided to go with red purely because they're in a similar location to Alfa Romeo, and I don't want to, pan to them and say, oh, which cars is that, a Haas or an Alfa Romeo? I can definitely say in this colour scheme it's a Haas, that's an Alfa Romeo as well. So but yes, I mean, they have not changed anything. I don't expect to see them. Hopefully Schumacher can learn to get out of the way and not either squeeze me against the wall or block me in qualifying. So yes, that has been the pre-season episode for season 4. Let me know what you think about this. Obviously, we've been rescued really by McLaren after Mercedes probably really unimpressed. They haven't even told me why I was fired, to be honest. I presume it's because we made a little bit of contact with Lewis, and obviously Lewis is their preferred candidate really. Even though we won the championship, they feel that Lewis is the man to take them forward, along with obviously to try and develop Christian Lundgaard for the future as well. For future seasons of career mode. But if you have then enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel for news, see plenty more F1 2021 driver career mode videos for season 4. Let me know what you think in the comments around here. Until the next video though, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.